Pogostemon Stellatus Octopus is a super popular aquarium plant. It has tons of benefits for your tank, and it's actually really easy to take care of. Today, I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks that I have for keeping Pogostemon Stellatus Octopus looking beautiful and healthy in your aquarium. Hi, my name is Lizzie with Aquariumcoop, and if you're looking for a unique and eye-catching plant for your aquarium, Pogostemon Stellatus Octopus is a great choice. It's not hard to take care of, and it really does benefit your aquarium in several ways. First of all, it makes an excellent background plant, like I have in this tank here, with its long, wispy leaf structure. It also does a good job of filtering the water by removing excess nutrients and waste that the fish produce, and it will also provide oxygen to the fish in the water column. Now, this plant is a large size plant, so it is best suited for something like a 10-gallon tank or bigger. It probably can be kept in a smaller aquarium, but you will have to keep it trimmed a lot more often. Now, Pogo is not super fussy when it comes to tank parameters. It will pretty much thrive in whatever your tropical fish aquarium is running at. It likes a temperature, same as your fish, of around 70s to low 80s, pH around 6.5 to 7.5, and it really doesn't even care about water hardness. It will grow in soft water and it will grow in hard water. It is a super hardy plant. Now, one thing to note with Pogostemon Stellatus Octopus is it really does thrive under at least medium light. It can grow under low light, it will just be a lot slower, but if you give it at least medium light, it will be super happy and put out tons of new growth. If you give it high light, it will grow even faster and you'll be trimming it all the time. Now, in addition to good light, you'll also want to give this plant some decent nutrients in the form of fertilizers. I like to use a liquid fertilizer in the water and a nutrient-rich substrate for the roots. Now, just to make my life easier, I like to use an all-in-one fertilizer, which has all the nutrients that the plants need. I use Easy Green from Aquariumcoop. It just makes my life easier. Keeping the nitrates around 20 to 40 parts per million is where I think the sweet spot is for this plant, and it will be super happy. If you are not using a substrate like a EcoComplete or Fluval Stratum, I would probably recommend using something like root tabs from Aquariumcoop. They will provide nutrients to substrates like sand and gravel, which don't already have them, and it will really just give that plant an extra boost. Now, as far as planting Pogostemon Stellatus Octopus, you do actually have options here. Most people grow it planted into their substrate, like I have in this aquarium here. It will feed off the roots and create a really cool effect in your aquarium. Probably best towards the back. If you plant it in the front of the tank, it'll grow really tall and shade out all of your other plants. If you have no substrate, you can also grow this plant. It will be completely happy growing floating. Just toss it in your tank, toss it in a pond, and it'll send roots down, it'll absorb nutrients, it'll send leaves out the top. It really doesn't care where it's growing. You can even grow it out of water too if you're making a terrarium or a paludarium. This plant will grow up onto the land, and it might even produce flowers for you if you grow it that way. So plenty of options for growing this plant. In terms of growth rate, this is a fast-growing plant. It can be a little aggressive, especially if you give it lots of light and nutrients like it likes. You'll definitely have to keep up with maintaining this plant and keep it trimmed. Otherwise, it will just continue growing right out of your aquarium. If you want to create a more full or bushy effect with this plant, it is super easy to propagate. One thing you can do is just take some scissors, give it a trim anywhere on the plant, and then replant those cuttings into the substrate, and it will grow a whole new plant. Now, the plant that you cut from will actually go ahead and produce 2 new offshoots at the point where you cut, essentially doubling your plant in size. And since you'll be replanting those trimmings, it will just become super full and bushy in your aquarium. Now, as with all aquarium plants, it is possible to experience issues with melting and nutrient deficiencies with Pogostemon Stellatus Octopus. One thing to expect when you first get the plant, if you buy a brand new Pogostemon Stellatus Octopus plant and you put it in your aquarium, it might not look super amazing right off the bat. That is because the plant needs time to adjust to your tank parameters. It might have been growing in a different aquarium, or at the plant farms, they grow plants outside of water, so if you've had it shipped to you, it's possible that it still has some leaves from when it was growing out of the water. Those leaves can't survive underwater, so the plant will go ahead and shed those off, and then it will produce brand new growth that is suited for underwater and the plant will continue to thrive for you. You can also experience melting with this plant if it has some nutrient deficiency issues. This plant does like to have plenty of nutrients available to it at all times. I like to keep it around 20 to 40 parts per million of nitrates in the form of fertilizer, and the plant does just fine. If it doesn't get quite enough, or if your nitrates are at 0, you definitely want to add some fertilizer because the plant will start to be a little stunted. It won't grow as quickly. It might be a little more pale, and it might just shed off leaves as it tries to acquire nutrients. So that's the solution to melting. Add more nutrients. If you don't have enough light, that could also be a problem. Add more light. Overall, Pogostemon Stellatus Octopus is a great choice for all levels of aquarists. It's perfect for beginners, it's great for aquascaping, it's great for breeding fish. Anyone can find joy in growing this plant. Thanks for watching.